Thank you, Judy.
And welcome.
I'm running around here. Okay. I've gone blank before too. It's called a senior moment, yes? Anyways, thank you for that wonderful story. Our next storyteller, Don Williams, has been around for quite a while. He's actually not been a part of our organization more than a couple of years, but he was telling stories for many more years as a professor at GVSU, sociology professor, yeah. And I think you will enjoy your next storyteller's style of storytelling. So please give a nice round of applause for Don Williams.
I came of age in a small hamlet in northern Michigan. And some of those memories are sitting around a campfire listening to the elders tell stories. I was fortunate that in the community I lived in, there were a number of, Patrick called them Ojibwe. They have another tribal name that they use themselves, but we'll go with Ojibwe. One of the things I learned is that a good story to be remembered needs to be told time and time and time again. So Patrick said he'll think of a story when he gets to the microphone. He's right, because some of you were watching, and this young man, compared to a number of you, I'm only 82, so I'm just a kid. You have this very clean window that I didn't see, and so I ran right into it. And it scared the staff because all sorts of things came to mind. So what I need to do is to tell a story about some yo-yo who had run into a window. And this is what came to mind. A long, 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 long time ago. So long ago we no remember when. In a land far, far away, even farther than the UP, so far away we no longer remember where. But in that land and at that time, there lived a farmer. A very successful farmer, a widow, had 3 sons. The oldest son was very smart, good looking. He's the one that would be the class valedictorian. For those of you who are grandparents, he's your favorite grandchild that all of us have, knowing my grandchild's smarter than your grandchild. And then there was the second son. Tall, athletic, fast, sports star. He would be the quarterback on our current teams, the major player in the basketball. And again, if you're a grandparent, he's the kind of grandchild that you all have, and you tell me stories about your favorite grandchild. And then there was a third one. The third one was like me. Never could do anything right. Although I must confess, the window now has a smudge on it, so I can see it. And like you, this one never did anything right, but he knew whatever he did, people would laugh at him. Few of you have that experience. I may be alone. The farmer was growing older and older, and he knew at some time he would have to decide what to do with his farm. He had 3 sons. And he came up with a plan. He said, what I'm going to do is next week call the community together and we'll have a celebration, and I will put a challenge before the sons. And the one that is able to succeed in the challenge will inherit all of the farm. So that's what they did. The day came and the sun began to come up and people gathered and there was food and there was music and there was dancing and there was laughter. It was a fun day. And the farmer called the three boys together and said, here is the challenge. What you need to do is to go out from here alone and bring back one item, only one. And whichever one of you is able to bring back something that fills up this cabin in back of us the most will inherit the entire farm. So the people begin to look at each other and say, I'll bet you it's going to be the oldest son. Smarts always win. Another group said, oh, no, it's going to be the second son. He's fast. He can do it. No one said it was going to be the third son. But then they left, the oldest son. He went in the valley to the forest on the left. The second son, he went to the valley and the forest on the right. And the youngest son decided what he would do is to go up in the mountainside. And so he did. And then you had it. You had food and music and things to drink and laughter and dancing. It was kind of your extended social hour, not for an hour, for the whole day, and it was fun, fun, fun. And just about noon, when that sun was up in the blue sky at the top, a hush came over the crowd, and they began to point out to the west, and they said, here he comes. We knew that he would win, and you know which one it was. Can see it in your eyes. Some of you are saying, it's the oldest son, and you're right. It was the oldest son, and he was pulling in back of him this humongous, large white horse, and he pulled, and he pulled, and he pulled it right up to that building. Stood at the door, and he pushed, and he shoved, and he begged, and he finally got the horse in the building, and you know what? It covered a whole lot of the building. It was a big, big horse. And then they went back to the food and the music and the dancing and the drinking and the laughter. They knew who had won. But as the sun continued in the sky and reached just about the midpoint before evening, a hush fell over the crowd, and from the other direction, another son came. And this time it'll be no surprise, it was son number 2. And some said, see, I told you it would be number 2. And the other one said, oh no, I'm sure number 1 will still win. And he was pulling this big, big wagon of straw. And he pulled the wagon right up to the building, the little tiny hut, the door, and he took the straw, bale by bale, and he put it in the barn. And it filled quite a bit of the space, and then you began to have the arguments. Some said, see, I told you it would be number 2, he would do it. And others would say, oh no, number 1 did it, the horse was bigger than the straw. Oh no, the straw was bigger than the horse. And they went on, and the music continued, and the food was there, and the drink was there, and the laughter, and the dancing, and the celebration continued on until evening. And then the third son, the one like me, was up in the hill alone. And he said, I don't know what to do. I might as well go back and face the music, because whatever I do, they're going to laugh at me. Like you laughed at me. And so he began to go down the mountainside to the village, and he passed the hut of the old wise woman. Did you hear that? The old wise woman. Aren't all old women, wives. And as they passed by that hut, she took a candle, a little tiny candle, smaller than that Bud Light can, and put it in the window. And he said, aha, I've got it. So he rushed home and he found a candle, a small little candle, and something to light it with, and he went into that hut and he lit the candle. And the light from that candle filled every corner of the hut, including the ceiling. So there you go. Simple story. Ends with a question. Who do you laugh at? Who do you know as the rum-dum will run into a window? Who are the wise women that you listen to? Because they're out there. And if you just pay attention, the wise women will tell you what to do. Peace be with you.